Super excited about what's getting ready to go down here pretty quick. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. So let me tell you guys who I am real quick. For some of you who don't know, I've done one live feed video for the Father's Rights Movement about a week ago, and wanted to let you guys know I've already received my first letters. They're in Illinois. So we're doing a couple of things. We're doing a letter writing campaign. So I'm having you guys send me personal handwritten letters that come from the heart. Doesn't matter where you're located. You could be in Australia, the UK, Canada, America. Doesn't matter. We want your letters. We want your letters because we recognize this is a human rights issue that's occurring through developed countries all across the world. And we need to let our leaders know in America that this is a worldwide issue. It's a human rights issue. It's a parental rights issue. And we want to get it addressed. So, personal handwritten letters, whatever comes from the heart. No agenda, just how family law and how it's affected you and your family, how it's affected your friends. I want those letters, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with those letters. On September the 1st, I'm going to begin a cross-country, a 3,000-mile campaign that I'm organizing. I'm working in cooperation with the Father's Rights Movement. They're providing a huge amount of support and the ability to reach out to a larger audience for us to pull together as one team, as one unit, to focus our fight in one single direction. And I have the qualifications to help to lead this charge. I spent 20 years in the United States Navy. I retired back in June of this year, so I'm still freshly retired. My official first day out of the Navy will be 1 September. My first day out of the Navy will be 1 September. That is the day that I will begin this campaign in the capital of Washington State. In Olympia, Washington, I will march on the capital of Olympia, Washington in my dress blue uniform in full medals with an upside down American flag. Now, before any of you guys, so I know a lot of you guys just heard that, let me explain to you a couple of those pieces and why I've chosen to utilize that. If you don't know U.S. flag code, let me just take a quick second to educate you. U.S. flag code, you are permitted to fly the American flag upside down at extreme risk of life or property. Now, I may not have a gun being held to my head, but when a judge in Lake County, Illinois, Judge Joe Salvi of the 19th Judicial District, looked at me when I was standing in court in uniform and said that he was going to punish me for expressing my First Amendment rights, and he prohibited me from seeing my children for the last 6 months. I've only seen my children for about 30 hours in 6 months. I was never charged with any crime, convicted of any crime. This judge didn't like that I fight for family law reform and that I'm fighting for parental equality and children's rights. He didn't like that. So he chose to prohibit me from seeing my children. A lot of you guys have been affected in a similar fashion. You guys have had gag orders placed on you. You've been threatened by attorneys. You've been threatened by CPS. You've been threatened by judges. Well, let me tell you right now, we're not going to tolerate that anymore. None of you. You're going to stand with me, and we're going to fight the government, we're going to fight the system, and we're going to restore the justice and the rights to the American people that I protected for 20 years, that my fellow service members fought and died for, to give us the freedoms that we're supposed to possess in the United States of America. Every one of you have the right to raise your children uninhibited by the judicial system that seeks to impose its will upon us, take our rights to raise our children. I will not tolerate that. No longer will you tolerate it either. You're going to stand with me, you're going to fight with me, and we're going to restore America to what its intended purpose was to be. For us to live as free men and free women in America with the ability to raise our children and carry through with the God-given rights that we all possess. If you've been afraid of the courts, if you've been afraid of CPS, let me tell you, do not be afraid anymore. I want you to stand and I want you to have your voices heard. And that's what I intend to do for you. On September 1st, I will fly the American flag upside down not as a sign of disrespect or desecration of the American flag, because I love my country and I love the men and women in it. I sacrificed for 20 years thinking that I was protecting those freedoms, those constitutional rights that we hold so dear. I didn't have friends of mine die in combat, friends of mine commit suicide, and to watch men and women across this country suffer underneath the tyranny that they're suffering underneath. We are in distress. We are in distress of life and property. They are illegally incarcerating men and women across this country for being behind on child support. Debtors' prisons were outlawed over 100 years ago. And I just saw a case of a man who's been incarcerated for 23 years of his life. He's behind on child support. And while he made some poor decisions to set his bail at $43,000 in back child support that accumulated while he was incarcerated, we're not going to tolerate that anymore. No more for-profit prison systems. No more lack of due process. They will protect our constitutional rights. They will recognize our constitutional rights because the Constitution came before a court of equity. So you guys, I need you to join me. We're going to post up the link to Restoring Justice 2016. There's a Facebook event page that's going to be created. In any of these states that I'm going to go through, we're going to lay out the entire roadmap beginning September 1st in Olympia, Washington. We're then going to proceed down to Salem, Oregon. We're going to cut across the country. We're going to head down into Nevada. We're going to hit, oh goodness, we're going to hit Kansas. We're going to hit Iowa. We're going to hit Missouri. We're going to hit Illinois. We're going to hit Indiana. We're going to hit, I think, Ohio. I think West Virginia. Possibly Tennessee. I don't remember. And ultimately, we're going to land in Washington, D.C. on September the 11th. On September the 11th, I will position myself outside of the White House in my dress blue uniforms in full medals with an upside-down American flag. Because the American people are in extreme duress. And I'm going to lead and fight for you, and I would like for you guys to fight with me. There's a lot of people who are sponsoring us, right? There's a lot of people who are going to be sponsoring this program. The Fathers' Rights Movement is sponsoring us and supporting us. Illinois for Parental Equality, the organization which I founded. Fixed Family Courts, A Walk for Lost Kids. We want everybody. We want to pull more on board. Everybody, all organizations, into one support system and lead the fight in one direction. All of us together in one single moment. We want to overwhelm them with this issue. Now, after September the 11th, after I leave D.C., I'm going to head to Indiana, to Purdue University. And at Purdue University is my intent to address Gary Johnson, who's a Libertarian candidate running for president, at that town hall meeting to this issue. We choose Gary Johnson because he's a Libertarian, number one. We're not voicing our support for him, but we're going there thinking that he might be our best chance to get this topic talked about on a national stage. That's what we want. We want the nation talking about this on a national stage. I have video. I have spoken to Donald Trump. I've spoken to his vice presidential candidate, Mike Pence. Between the two of them, I've spoken to them 3 times and personally handed them my information to let them know the duress that I was under. And I haven't heard anything. I know that they're busy and they've got a campaign. I'm not trying to bash those guys. But what we want to do is get all of these candidates talking about what we know to be the greatest national issue facing America right now. 20 million American children growing up without a biological father. The states and CPS and social services and all these organizations profiting billions of dollars through Title IV-D funding, through Title IV-E funding. We want to hit them where it hurts, right in their pocketbook. With the attorneys, with the judges, and the way that they treat us inside family court, we will no longer tolerate it. And we want real and meaningful reform right now, not a year from now. Because guess what? If you don't stand with me today, if you don't overcome the fears that you have, if you don't stand with us today and take this fight to them right now, 1 year from today, We're going to wake up and there's going to be 20,000 children whose parent committed suicide because of this system. 20 to 30,000 will commit suicide between now and this time next year. Lives depend on whether or not we stand and choose to fight. Do not allow a child, you look at your children today, and many of you have struggled with this like I have. You struggle with depression. You struggle with thoughts of suicide. Do not let a child wake up tomorrow or the next day or 1 year from now without that father or that mother to help raise them. You can do something about it. Your morality and your own self-esteem demand that you stand and you fight for this. Don't say, I wish there was something I could do. I wish I had the money. I wish I could take time off work. You can't afford for any excuses, because tomorrow you might not have the time to fight for these children. You might not have the time to fight for yourself and your family. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. You got to act today. Today. So on September the 1st, we will begin this 13-day campaign to generate and raise awareness. I will fly the American flag upside down because we are under extreme duress of life and property. How many of you have considered suicide? How many of you have attempted suicide? How many of you know somebody who has committed suicide because of this system? If that's not extreme duress, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. You went years sometimes without seeing or talking to your children. Is that not extreme duress of life and property? Your liberties have been stolen from you, and it is time that we take those freedoms back. So no longer. You must build your courage. You must build your self-esteem. You must stand and fight for what you know to be right and true. And when you do that, you will find a liberation like you have never known. September the 1st. September the 1st. I want them to know I will be in D.C. And they will answer to this. They will fix this broken system. They don't have a choice. We will make them. Yesterday was their day. Today is our day. This is our country. Our country, not theirs. You guys stand with me. You fight with me. I need your letters from all across the world. You will send them to me. And I will personally hand carry your letters. Everything that comes from your heart, I will hand carry those letters to Washington, D.C. I will go to Washington, D.C. for you. And if you can, please, please join us in Washington, D.C. on September the 11th. If you can join us in these capitals that I'm going to be in, I would love to meet you. I want to hear your personal stories. I'm going to have a GoPro and I'm going to be recording. I want to hear your personal stories because you're going to motivate me and you're going to drive me to fight even harder for you. I love you guys. You guys have a great night. God bless you guys. God bless America. Hey, the sunshine, tomorrow the sun's going to rise in the east. And you know what? It's a brand new day. When you guys wake up tomorrow, I hope you wake up resolved as I am to fight for your children and to fight for the men and women in this country. God bless. You guys have a great night. I love you. Again, I'm Kash Jackson with a K. Look me up on Facebook. Friend me. Send me messages. And I'll do the best that I can to get back to you. I'm super busy right now with all the planning. And but you guys look for more to follow. Okay? Love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.